Is America on the verge of a financial crisis? And is your money safe? We're going to talk about that today, right here on Fixing the Money Thing. I'm Gary Keesee, and for 9 years, we lived in a financial, chaotic, stress-filled, visionless life. I cried out to God. He said, "You're living like many of my people are, living in debt." He said, "I want my people free."
Your financial freedom is closer than you think. America's financial coach, Gary Keesee, shares the kingdom principles that changed his life, defeated his debt, and set him free.
Financial problems, they're slow death. We're trying to change the way you think about money.
This is Gary Keesee, Fixing the Money Thing. Today, a financial update. Are we facing economic collapse?
Hi, I'm Gary Keesee, and welcome to Fixing the Money Thing. As you know, panic hit the nation's banks recently when Silicon Valley Bank, the 16th largest bank in the U.S., was placed under the FDIC receivership on March 10th, 2023. This was the largest bank failure since the Great Depression. It was followed by the collapse of Signature Bank just 2 days later. A few days after that, a European bank, a major European bank, Credit Suisse, and a regional bank, First Republic, also teetered near insolvency. The government stepped in and covered all the deposits over the $250,000 FDIC limit, but they've been hesitant to say they would do the same for all the other banks. So if the banks are having problems and the stock market is rocky, where should I and you put our money? That is today's question here on Fixing the Money Thing, so let's get into the fix. Let me ask you a question. Wouldn't it be great if you could find a place that you could invest at a guaranteed 24% or even a 28% rate of return? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Well, there is such a place. It's your credit card debt. Yeah, your credit card debt. Yeah, you pay a credit card off, it is exactly the same as investing money at that interest rate. So I know the next question. Where's the money? How am I going to pay my credit cards off? The reason I have credit card debt is because I don't have money to pay them off. I understand that. But here's the thing. You do have money. Trust me, I've done this for almost 40 years. You have the money to get out of debt. I'll help you find it, but let's talk about it. At a recent conference I was at, I asked the crowd to look up a website called missingmoney.com. I said, put your hand up if you found money. So they went to the website, they entered their address, and before long, hands began to pop up all over the auditorium. A large number of people in that conference found money, some decent amounts of money. You see, what happens if a company tries to send you a refund or a paycheck and you've moved, or your dad or your mom or family member has left you money and they could not get it to you? The states are required to log that, and missingmoney.com connects with all the states and they can get you that information. Now, that's just one example of how to find money, a very simple one. In fact, after the show, I recommend you do that. Go to missingmoney.com and find money for yourself. Now, there's a lot of ways to find money. I've been finding money for people for 40 years and started a company. That's all that company does, is help people find money, get out of debt, and safeguard their investments. And so we've done this all over the country and in other nations. But I want to just put a graph up that you can see that will help explain how we find money. You'll see here on this graph, we've taken a family and we have gone through their budget and how they spend their money, and we would say this in our minds: okay, is there a better way to spend that money? I see they are doing this for their money, they're paying that bill, but is there a better way to reallocate that money? Is there a cheaper product that we can find that would have the same benefit to them, but at a cheaper price? With the objective, I am looking for cash, right? And so it's amazing when you look for cash and take the time to compare prices, you will find money. For instance, did you know the average person does not even compare auto rates for 16 years? That's the stat in the US. The average person buying auto insurance doesn't change companies for 16 years because they don't even take the time to look at it. So this graph, as you see here, shows a list of things we found for this one family. And you can see it's a large number, over $1,700 a month. That's a lot of money. And of course, this family got out of debt very quickly. I think if I remember this family's case, it was like 6 years completely debt-free, including their house, their mortgage, without changing their income. That's incredible. Now, let me give you some other ideas on how to find money. Again, I'm just setting the stage, trying to perk your interest in thinking in terms of, hey, I can do that. I can find money. What about a 401k? Do you have a 401k at work? I bet you probably do. Did you know you can borrow money from your own 401k? And you know, you pay interest, but guess what? The interest goes back into your own account. You can borrow up to $50,000, usually on a 5-year repayment schedule. You need to be careful, though, if you quit that job or you lose that job anywhere in that 5-year period of time, the outstanding payments will become taxable to you and a penalty will apply for early withdrawal from your 401k. But by doing that with a 401k, you're going to be paying off a 28% or a 24% credit card. It makes a lot of sense to move that money around and pay that card off. Looking for fragments. That is what it's all about. Let me give you another idea. How about taxes? You like taxes? You know, most people don't want to talk about taxes, right? But that is the biggest area of loss people lose money in. Now, again, I'm just giving you examples. For instance, there's a form called 843 that most people have never heard of. And that is if you have had a penalty assessed to you and you can express a reasonable reason why you were late or you couldn't do it, pay it on time, or you have a penalty because of whatever reason, you have a form to file. And you can file this form 2 years after that particular year has been paid off in full. You can file an abatement form for a refund of that penalty. Again, there are so many ways in all of these areas to find money. I'm just trying to get you to think today, we have money, we just need to find it. So let's go on and talk about where should I put my money then, Gary? Okay, I understand credit cards, they're expensive, and you've given me ideas. We can find money, fragments, pay those off. But let's change topics now, and let's talk about where should you put your money? What is safe? Obviously, nothing beats the banks for instant liquidity and safety. I agree. And as long as you stay under $250,000, the FDIC limit, you're good to go. But banks really aren't that great for long-term investing, right? And you need to remember this. When you invest your money in a bank, like in a CD, you're investing your money into a guaranteed loss. Hold on. I know that's shocking. You've invested your money into a guaranteed loss. Now, for liquidity, short-term, we can live with that. Long-term, not so much. Let's take an example. Currently, CD rates in this nation run around 4.5% to 5% rate, okay, 4.5% to 5% interest. We got a problem, though, because inflation is over 6%, and just a month or so ago, it was over 7%, which means that as far as your, quote, investing in your bank goes at 5%, and inflation is 6%, you have a guaranteed loss right off the top of 1%. But oh, wait a minute, that's not all, because so you have to pay taxes on that 5% return every year. Assuming you're in a 25% tax rate, your net rate of return would be 3.75%. That's way under inflation. Actually, you're investing at a negative 2.25% rate. So if I ran an advertisement, say, hey, special of the day, you can invest your money at a negative 2.25% rate, would I have a line of people out the door wanting to sign up? I don't think so, because people don't know how money works. They've never been taught how money works, but someone does know how money works, and they will make the money and you'll lose it. So 2.25% negative interest rate, that could do some real damage over a long period of time to your retirement goals. So is there a safe place to invest without being in the markets that can get a better return or stay ahead of inflation? I would say yes. I'm going to show you a graph here in just a minute, that talks about that, but it is a life insurance product. Now, that sounds crazy, right? Life insurance product? Life insurance companies work completely different than banks. They have investment vehicles themselves called annuities that they market to consumers to hold money for a longer period of time. Now, life insurance companies do not invest in market-driven assets. So let me just say this. Life insurance companies belong to what's called the legal reserve system, meaning that they have to have in reserve any potential claim in the future. They have to have a reserve of money to pay those claims. That reserve cannot be invested in market-driven assets, cannot be in stocks, cannot be in real estate. It has to be safe. It has to be there. In fact, through the Depression, you know what? 9,000 banks shut their doors. But 99% of all the life insurance companies went on like nothing even happened. You say, well, how is that possible? Because they are set up completely different than a bank. A bank operates on what's called fractional investing. Fractional. They take your money and then they loan it back out. And they're only required to keep a fraction of that on hand to cover withdrawals and liquidity issues. Well, that goes down the line. They keep loaning it out, loaning it out. That fractional banking profile method sounds great and it's good for everyone involved. It's a great way for the economy to grow, but it does have its risks. Life insurance companies, on the other hand, they have to have the money on hand to ensure that your claim, whenever that comes, is paid. So that is a great, great concept.